Just a little. I've overeaten a little bit.
You've overeaten. You pig. You glutton.
Glorious. It's the first time this summer I've started up the grill, so
Summer.
we celebrated.
Jesus. Fucking. It's like Jonas all over again with the Summer Fun campaign. Summer has not begun!
Yes, this summer.
No!
Next same time, that's summer.
It's not summer.
It's June, it's summer.
That's not summer!
So how warm is it over there, Grimith?
You would be roasted alive, Manaki.
Then it's summer.
No, not according to what the calendar tells me. The first day of summer does not start at the start of June.
It lies.
I'm pretty sure humanity isn't lying on this one. It's how the calendar is made. It's fact.
You know, dates and such, it's just definitions. Words that we made up.
They're
to make
facts,
sense of a year.
Manaki. Science man, come on, get behind the facts.
Well, if you like science, then you know that facts are subjective.
Don't you even fucking try to turn this around on me, Manaki. You can't. I won't budge.
We've had this conversation before, I think. Arguing for each other's ideals.
If I remember my school education correctly, Kant would have taught us that there are no facts because memory is imperfect. So it might be summer, but we don't know.
Because that's the man to trust, Kant.
We can never know, in fact.
We can never know. We know nothing.
It's
I only know that
anything.
I know nothing.
I think that was like Socrates.
It's in the same area.
When he asking random questions of passerbys in Athens forum was asked, so well, do you even know? He was like, I know nothing, I'm an idiot, and I'm just asking a question to you because you seem so important.
All my great things involving so greats, that's what I like to call them, involves American film industry with a movie that he was in and he was parodied.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
I am not familiar with that.
You know, that's why I didn't go into detail about it.
Sure. Alright. I like this boat. Why'd you find the boat?
I found it in my folders.
Boat. Oh yeah, that's in the same folder I have. You
know, it's one of the default, well, not the default, but one of the resource libraries you can download into MapTool from the RP Tool server. Seeing as how the gallery was removed a number of years ago, it's you don't have many sources.
Yeah, I remember when for Age of Darkness I actually bought a boat token, a boat image for like $1 so that I could have, because it was so fucking impossible to find a good boat. This one's a nice boat.
I'm glad you like the boat so much. I spent a lot of time slapping it down. Don't you
Where's my token, actually?
Isn't that a level 5 spell slot, Asthma man?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
I have a heroism potion.
Yeah. Oh, you have a heroism potion.
Yeah. Oh, that's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Now, if memory serves about heroism potions, you also can't gain a new spell or power with one of these potions unless the GM's in a generous mood.
Oh, I see.
He obviously is always.
Well, we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah, that's straight from the document. So.
Well, you're generous, right, Grimith?
You should ask yourself that question.
And yeah.
I don't know. After discovering you had 90 bajillion spell slots, I don't think I'm leaning towards generosity.
No. But it's so expensive.
love how that's your reasoning. Well,
What does it cost?
150 gold pieces. What else did you buy with your money and not tell me about?
Well, maybe a health potion. I don't know if I told you or not.
If you didn't. I don't remember the heroism potion at the very least, so...
Yeah, I bought it a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
I completely forgot that we have money.
Yeah, did we get any money last time? I don't really know.
Well, you would have gotten 200 gold pieces. That's all you would have gotten.
That was written in the Skype chat as well.
Yeah, you must have not read the money part when you were reading all of the other parts that weren't pertaining to money.
No.
It's funny, that's usually the part that people get, and they skip the rest.
I read some parts, I had stuff to do.
Yes, recovering from a festival, I hear.
Yeah. Good times.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Well, the four of you are here, then I reckon we can go ahead and get started a little bit early.
Not the token still.
That's fine. Well, that's good. That's good. Because I'll provide today's recap. Last session kicked off in Lord Teraptus's room. Lord Teraptus just provided the player characters with the options, suggestions rather than options, that the players could select in order to continue with the session. The characters discussed among themselves and very quickly came to the conclusion that they wished to travel to the island of Creo to see if they could locate the Orb of Storms, the powerful artifact that is reputed to have brought an end to the 10th Age. That is fine, Sheep. That will restore your armor. The players, the characters, spent some time in Newport, looking around, for one, to find information about the living dungeon that surfaced on the island of Creel a number of years ago, and they unraveled that the living dungeon is very polite, very friendly, very congenial, welcoming towards adventurers, with a variety of branching paths, and it almost never closes your way of retreat, so if at any point you decide that you cannot continue with the dungeon, you can run away. The dungeon resets every midnight, so you can try again without any losses of life, so long as you retreat before you lose your life, so long as you do not break the rules of the dungeon. The player characters thought this was suspicious, but they're like, alright, that's cool, we guess. The characters also received 2 offers from NPCs for locating and retrieving the Orb of Storms. Lord Teraptus offered to pay the player characters 200 gold pieces each, plus transportation, and a shady individual from the noble sector of Newport offered to pay the player characters 400 gold pieces each, plus transportation. There was some minor discussion about whether to select this individual's, or whether to accept this individual's offer, or whether to accept it and just keep the money without giving him the Orb of Storms. Ultimately, however, the player characters decided to just accept Lord Teraptus's offer, and they set sail for adventure the island of Creel, where they encountered the living dungeon. And sure enough, it did have friendly rules posted, welcoming all adventurers into its halls, and also offered a series of branching paths, right from the start, that the player characters could choose from. They elected to go down a puzzle route, or they encountered a powerful entity who gave the player characters a logic puzzle. And the characters spent some time, they solved it, and then the entity gave the characters an FU puzzle, and they got it wrong. And the price of failure, for that is what the entity was named, punished them. And they had to take a campaign loss, they ran away from the dungeon, it reset, and they tried again the next day. They did another logic puzzle, then they got the FU puzzle correct, and they proceeded to the next floor. They did a lot of obstacles. There was some scorching sands that they managed to hop across. There was an extensive pit that they managed to soar across. There was a room full with nothing but a brazier, and asking individuals to provide the appropriate sacrifice, which Leon managed to deduce with his extensive religious knowledge. And then, through these series of branching paths that the dungeon is very generous in offering, the player characters entered a room known as Thy Flesh Consumed, which, as it turns out, had 2 ghasts in it, 2 flesh golems, and a creature that is best left forgotten. Player characters did manage to survive the ordeal, but they were low on resources. That took them to the final floor, as far as the player characters discovered, where they encountered an entity, an aberration, introducing itself as Creel, because that name suited its purposes, congratulating the characters on making it to that floor, for no other adventurers had ever made it to that floor, and it possessed the Orb of Storms, a dormant Orb of Storms, but an Orb of Storms all the same. And this entity, Creel, offered the player characters reward each for making it this far, but they were coming for the Orb of Storms, and Creel said that because the characters didn't make it here on the first try, nor did they encounter and complete the impossible gauntlet, Creel would not just surrender the Orb of Storms. He required that the players go through one incredibly dangerous, lethal combat challenge. The players discussed it amongst themselves. They agreed. They fought this challenge, and they prevailed so barely, incredibly close to a TPK. The exciting battle concluded. Creel surrendered the Orb of Storms, teleported the player characters out of the dungeon, said that they were not welcome again because they had successfully acquired a reward from the dungeon, but asked that they would tell all of their friends and enemies. The player characters rested for a bit, and then went to Newport, where they turned in the Orb of Storms to Lord Teraptus. And he confirmed that the Orb of Storms was dormant, so it could not be responsible for the freak weather and early onset of winter this year. That is where we begin at the start of the session. By the way, before I end this recap, I did some research into the prospect of healing or rallying, or both, whenever you have no recoveries, and I didn't find anything to dispute the way that it was handled last session. So, on the off chance that anyone gets to negative recoveries again, I don't have a problem with following the rules for when you have negative recoveries. But I think I might start at having people describe how they're actually rallying. So, there's that. Things that need to be covered in the recap. Okay. Before we get started, the group never solidified how long they wanted to stay in Newport before heading out on an adventure. It was bandied about like half a week, a week. Let's resolve that now.
I mean, is there anything that we need a lot of time for? I don't think shopping for a trip is going to take more than a couple of days.
Sherm certainly would like to just get going.
That's funny, because last session, Manaki was like, Dwohurim just wants to sleep. Put his body back together.
Well, after sleeping. You can sleep on a boat. It's pretty, like, it's like a few weeks. I don't know, a week, 2 weeks.
That's a 3-day boat trip to Drakkenhall.
Oh, alright, that's not that long. Yeah, I was just confusing it with travel times on foot, of course.
Yeah, walking to Drakkenhall might take a bit longer.
Yes.
So let's not walk. Let's take a boat.
I mean, I didn't plan for you guys walking to Drakkenhall. You could certainly choose that route, though. That is the unexpected route.
We could certainly spend a few days, like trying to research, finding out what is in Drakkenhall, what's going on there. What do people know? Like travelers who came from Drakkenhall? There are probably a few. like merchants and stuff. What do they know about the place? What's going on right now? People can do the shopping they need to.
All right. Any other ideas or input into this question? Because it's an important question that the player characters need to resolve, because I need to know how many days advance.
I mean, I would just say like 4 days.
Sounds good.
2 days just resting, another 2 days for research and shopping.
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. In that case, for basic information, we don't have to roleplay that one out, unless you particularly want to. I have revealed a map, which you of course could not have preloaded because you didn't have it revealed, called Drakkenhall. When you load that up, you'll get your basic information and overlay of how the City of Monsters appears. Of course, Drakkenhall was once High Rock earlier this age. High Rock was a very powerful trade city, very well advanced, basically like Glitterhagen, only on the eastern side of the Empire. But 400 years ago, massive deluge of monsters from the north and northwest. Orcs, heavily responsible for this. Thanks, Orc Lord. Completely obliterated, absolutely trashed and smashed High Rock. Crushed it. And the former great city laid there, barren and lifeless. Just a massive mound of rubble. Now, in the 200 to 300 year range, and the word that you get's not entirely sure because history does a pretty bad job of tracking what happened a decade ago, let alone 20 decades ago. The Dragon Emperor and the Blue, one of the three, a very powerful sorceress, perhaps the most powerful arcane caster in the entirety of the Empire, the world, entered an agreement of sorts. The Blue became an imperial governor with all the advantages and privileges thereof, and was officially recognized as a part of the Empire. And she, from all of the rubble, created Drakkenhall, the City of Monsters, or Blue City, as it is known to the monstrous natives. I have given you folks, some of you, more so than others, a glut of information before this session pertaining to the city. This will demonstrate itself, any knowledge that you would get by researching, in the form of little icons that you can click on the Drakkenhall map, ranging from Saltside in the sea, which is heavily populated by sailors and outcasts. You have Rubble City, which is what most of Drakkenhall actually is. And despite there being one icon beneath Rubble City, you can assume Rubble City to pretty much be the central and eastern portions of the map, and a bit of the west too. The ruins are primarily in the west, but they're also beneath the buildings in the east, and really beneath the city in general. You have the incredible spire that is the Tower of the Blue, looming in the center, and then that little tower on a island off on its own there in a lake is the Silver Dragon Tower, where the Great Silver Worm resides, and it's reported that she is responsible for maintaining the contract between the Dragon Emperor and the Blue in some form or fashion. And if at any point she says, "Fuck this shit," it's assumed that either the contract is gone, or the age is gonna end. No one's really entirely sure, but peasants are always full of theories on the subject. In addition, there's some great can't-miss locations located in Drakkenhall. For example, you have the incredible Goblin Market, where you could possibly acquire anything, just so long as you're willing to sift through the amazing bazaar at night, because it's not open during the day. The goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears sleep then, and really that's the safest time to travel through the region. But if there's something that you really want to wheel and deal, if you're looking for an amazing opportunity, can't beat price, it would most certainly be the Goblin Market. Can't miss it. Indeed not. There is also, if you are just arriving, then Sweet Hall might be the place for you. Now, Sweet Hall is named after the common mortal races. See, monstrous races in Drakkenhall, the Blue City, that's what they call Drakkenhall, the Blue City, and they call the mortal races, humanoids, sweets. Sweet Hall, as such, is a tenement cleared by adventurers a decade ago, and it is home to races just like yourselves. So, if you're looking to try and make an initial beachhead, Sweet Hall could be a place for you to go if you actually wanted to deal with denizens of that nature. Similarly, there is a tavern right across the street from Sweet Hall called The Rack, where you can attempt to negotiate with sweets about all manners of things within the city of Drakkenhall without delving too deep into it. Now, there are certainly far more regions located within the City of Monsters, but they're not that well known, particularly to outsiders, and it's not impossible for the city's architecture and structure to change. It's a consequence of the blue ruling it, and the entire metropolis being at her whim. Her draconic mind is far beyond the capability of mortals to comprehend. Her tower design and the entire central district area has been known to change design on a whim. Mapping that is pretty much impossible. And it's not impossible for Drakkenhall itself to shift a bit, should she so desire. At any rate, that would cover your basic research. No need for rolls on that. You can ask around. You have enough access to people in Newport, the city of opportunity, that you can glean some factoids. People aren't exactly too keen on sharing information about Drakkenhall, those you would ask. It's not a city that you want to go to without purpose, given how very dangerous the location is. So essentially, by asking around, you convey with your queries that you may very well have a death wish. As you learn more about the City of Monsters, whenever you actually get there, I will reveal more on that map for you. Keep in mind, it is a metropolis, one of the 7 great cities of the Empire. Probably as vast and expansive as Newport, which of course is a new construction, made in part by survivors fleeing from the north, after High Rock was destroyed. But Drakkenhall is full of far more magic, far more monstrous races, and far more danger. Anything else you wish to take care of in Drakkenhall? Drakkenhall, excuse me. Newport.
You know, considering that there are undoubtedly agents of whatever agencies want us gone in Newport, maybe it would make sense to go around and say, oh, we're traveling to Santa Cora on a 2-week trip and we won't come back ever. Just spreading false information, basically.
Actually, Hume has asked the dear Lord Teraptus to discreetly, sort of indiscreetly, let people know that we're traveling out to go towards the Iron Sea.
Oh yeah, that works.
So much better a place for us to disappear for whatever agents want to find us. I'll have to trudge out there and look everywhere.
Yes, Lord Teraptus offers no guarantees on how believable this will be, or how many people it will distract, but he'll certainly attempt it for you.
Sure.
since we've covered how much time you wish to pass in Newport, why don't we combine those 4 days of downtime with your experiences thus far to explain how your characters have transitioned to level 4. Why don't we start with you, Dark?
Why did I expect that? Oh well.
It is the natural order of things.
Yes, it seems to be. Well, Leon has, well, throughout we've done quite a lot of travelling now, and a lot of things have transpired for us. We have gone from being, well, quite weak to growing all our way up during our travels. Most, originally just in, just in the small town of Folkhaven, but through our travels, and most notably though our experiences in the in Krell, or Creel, or I can't remember how you pronounce it now. Oh well. Many things, we had many different challenges, and everyone was quite exhausted afterward. But we had developed, and we really had to use both our mental capacity and train ourselves physically and with our powers, using every resource at our disposal to just step up to the plate and just try something new, experiment, and well, it was a do or die situation, and we survived. And Leon's using that experience to keep pushing himself forward.
Alright. Because I'm liking to follow the natural order of things, Sheep.
Well, Thomas's growth has mostly stemmed from the fact that he has, in the face of so many challenges in the past, managed to stick to his principles. Just do what he thinks is right, even though sometimes that didn't quite get the results he had hoped for. And, since Drakkenhall was always on the horizon, a place that, while he's somewhat scared of it, is certainly also the place where currently it seems that there's a lot of information that he simply needs at this point. Because if there's a bigger threat to the world that is connected to what is happening near the Iron Sea and the wars and whatnot, it certainly seems like information like that could be found in Drakkenhall. And Drakkenhall is a dangerous place. A place that you don't go usually if you have common sense. But if you don't have common sense, then you better have enough strength to actually prevail in whatever you have to do there. And that is what prompted Thomas's growth.
Alright. Time to deviate from the order. Manaki.
Yes. Sherm lately has, has not been feeling very well. He's kind of been down, and if sort of someone approaches him, he'll say one thing that he's trouble sleeping lately. This whole adventure, as some would call it, this whole incident, has not really gone the way he wanted. What he wanted really was to live in the Wildwood, a quiet life where he could use his abilities for good. But lately he's become a murderer, a mass murderer. In that lakeside, that seaside manor, he killed countless numbers of people. Yes, they were criminals, but they were not given a trial, and he really didn't think much about it at the time, but almost dying in Creel really, to some degree, gave him some perspective on what the hell he's doing. He'd felt so immortal, like he could do anything up to that point, but now it all seems bleak, as if this whole success has just been luck. He sort of looked inward, sort of tried to prepare for what he might encounter in Drakkenhall, and tried to rely less on the magics that now kind of make him feel a little bit sad. Whenever he uses his magic as he did, destroying things, killing, well, hundreds of people, soon to be maybe, he tries to avoid it a little bit. As such, he's bought himself a bow, dirtied his clothes a bit. He looks more ragged, his beard more unkempt, as he pulls his hood further down over his brow. He has taken to drinking more, and certainly keeps smoking a lot, as if he's under a lot of stress. And he just, shakes his head at long conversations. growing very into himself.
I appreciate the detail, Manaki, but I am concerned whether I'll have to remove the corners from all of my taverns in the future.
Perhaps you will.
Alright, and the returning Goger, Asthma Man.
Yeah. So I wasn't really here last session, but yeah. So the thing about the crow last time, that was actually a prior druid who was trying to beat his dungeon before and had suffered a horrible fate. And not wanting Fargus and his party to suffer the same fate as he has, he granted his powers to Fargus. And so he managed to turn into crow, and I don't really know what happened after that, but yeah.
That's great. I didn't think that you would even attempt to explain my GM hand waving. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Fuck, you don't even have to do anything else to explain how Fargus leveled up to level 4. I think that's good.
Alright.
I wasn't even expecting an explanation for that. It's fine. It's great. Fantastic. It's another bleak sunset morning. A freezing wind blows in from the south, stealing your breath the moment you step outdoors. Snow doesn't melt fast enough in Newport's heat, and the thick, white blanket has made land travel quite difficult. Thankfully, your group is planning nothing of the sort. The Dragon Empire wouldn't function without the tranquility of the Midland Sea. I'm there at rest before your eyes, serenely taunting you. Would you like to roleplay finding a passenger ship, or do you want to skip ahead to finding a passenger ship?
Well, we should at least consider what kind of ship.
Okay.
One that